meloncollieflaur です。Hello everyone, I am meloncollieflaur. And you know what today is? It's Watermelon Wednesday. SUIKA 水曜日だよ. We've made it to the middle of the week once again. Just a few more days until the weekend. So be it school or work, because I know that people have started school as well, be it college or otherwise. I wish for a fantastic start. Study well, do well. I believe in you. Hello Milo. Melon. Hope you're doing well today. おはようございます。こんにちは。こんばんは。私はメロンコリーフラワーです。今日の配信はスイカゲームだよ。So, let's get started. How's you, Kylie? I'm okay. Been trying to still sleep better. That's one of the reasons why the stream is late again. But I did get good sleep. It's just late again. I hope it's not a huge issue. Considering that SUIKA streams are usually 1 hour, it's alright and that's good. Yeah. Also, I did see some of the Kirby Air Riders Direct, and I think it looks pretty good. Nice cast of characters as well. I can tell that Sakurai still loves, obviously still loves Kirby because Kirby is his baby. Hello Bob, Melon, hope you're doing well today. Same, it looks amazing, it looks really good. You never would have guessed or thought that Kirby Air Ride would actually get a sequel, I guess. After how many generations of consoles? Wii U, Switch 1, I guess. Maybe next year will be the era of re-releases of GameCube games, I guess, or remasters perhaps. I'm not sure. Apparently GameCube didn't sell well in certain places, but apparently they sold really well in like Germany, I think. Which is very interesting to think about. It's very weird to hear about how a system is considered a failure or it didn't sell as much as the others compared to the other systems that were selling at the time. Because the N64, looking back at it, felt kind of niche. But it was played so much that when the GameCube came out, the GameCube controller felt alien in comparison, even though the N64 controller looks the most alien. It's really interesting in terms of perspective, especially against the PS1. Yeah, exactly, because the PS1's graphics were actually a step up from N64 as far as I could tell. I'd even say the frame rates most of the time were better. I'd like to think so anyway. I did grow up playing both. I didn't own an original PlayStation, but I did have friends who did. So I know all about it. But they did have longer loading times on PS1. That's true. So, one of the things that I didn't really like about PlayStation in general, be it PlayStation 1 or PlayStation Original and PlayStation 2, is that load times were pretty long for what I was used to. Because it seemed like, I guess it's because it was a disc, which would make sense considering that if you ever play Famicom games or Super Famicom games, there's more of a waiting time or loading time because they aren't cartridges. So I guess cartridges have a shorter load time, I would assume, than a CD does. But maybe a CD does load more at one time? That's something I don't really know. But it's very interesting to think about and to look back on. I'm no programmer, so I have no idea how things work. But it is interesting to look at. They did use the Super Famicom design for the system in Europe. Yeah. So, yeah. Europe got the same Super Nintendo design as the Japanese did. I guess the only thing that's very confusing about it though is that it couldn't really play Japanese games the European way because of the hertz number, since Japan was NTSC or is NTSC and Europe is PAL. So it's a little, in a way, it's kind of like what's the best way to put it? It's kind of like North America and Europe. Wait, no. I'm trying to think. What's the best way to think of this? It's kind of a combination, basically. Because it's a Japanese design, but it's European, so it also plays, English games as well. But yeah, I can only assume that the cartridges even look the same, the cassettes look the same as the Japanese ones as well. So it's really interesting and really cool. The North American Super Nintendo looks the most different. And apparently over years, as people collect stuff, people are seeing, or people think, or have the opinion of, that the Super Nintendo, North American Super Nintendo doesn't look as good. And then people will wonder why North America didn't get like the 4 different color buttons. But at the same time, the North American one had, what's it called? The concave, or was it convex? I'm not sure. Concave buttons, I think, at the bottom or the side. They're like the lighter colors, I think. I'm not sure. So the controllers are a little bit different in terms of button. Yeah, they do just with a little PAL logo on them. Oh, I see. Having a Super Nintendo that can play both versions, it's made by Hyperkin. Oh, so when you say both versions, do you mean North American games and Japanese games, or do you mean Japanese games and European games? Because that's the thing. It's hard for someone to play North American and European 1233 because of the hertz difference, which is why NTSC games run faster on European, and European games run slower on NTSC. 1233 PAL and NTSC. Oh, I see. Okay, so it runs both. But yeah, if you are North American, then PAL games are going to run slower. I think the whole thing with PAL and NTSC is that PAL looks better but runs a bit slower, and vice versa for non-PAL. I think that was the whole thing. So And then of course, you know, conversion stuff in terms of power and whatnot, depending on where you live, the different standards, voltage, and all that type of stuff too. There's a lot that goes into it, but it's still interesting to think about, considering that how could Japan and North America have the same type as opposed to having a different type from North America as well? And how is it that Europe has a different type from them all, or from both? It's just very interesting to think about. Ohayou gozaimasu, AM 812 JPN. 8時12分。こんばんは。Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. おはようございます。おはようございます。お元気ですか? Yeah, it was something to do with Europe and how electric cables traveled between different countries, while JP and US only had to deal with the one country. And it's really interesting too. If you look up the different types of broadcasts, there's NTSC, there's PAL, and there's something called SECAM as well, which is the one I'm the most unfamiliar with. And I'm not entirely sure how it worked. But apparently that was also a different television broadcast type, or what have you, region type. It's kind of like when people talk about imperial metric and, or not imperial metric, but Fahrenheit, Celsius, and then you have Kelvin. Basically, SECAM is the Kelvin, I think. There's something to do it. You have electrical show. Yeah. Oop. Why oop? What happened? I kind of want to do more research on the CCAM thing, the SCCAM thing. I remember looking up the different conversion types and whatnot a long time ago, so I just happened to remember that. But it's very, very interesting to see regional differences. I'm very intrigued by stuff like that. How different people do different things and how different developments happen in different areas. I love it a lot, actually. Naruhodo, naruhodo, does it naruhodo? I will look it up after this match, because I'm genuinely like curious about it. Because like I said, I had never heard of it before. I know a long time ago, I remember trying to run a PAL game, since I do run NTSC, and I did notice that it does run slower. And apparently Europeans get like harder difficulties as well, like just natively. So you can actually say that Europeans are built different in the gaming industry because of that, interestingly enough. Apparently Luigi's Mansion has like, the European version is the harder difficulty as well, and with more interesting development as well. 12分。発音。ありがとう。日本の夏、ドッグで犬がなんちゃらを出すほど暑い。うんうん。元気は暑いさで。お疲れ？はい。疲れてます。I see. なるほど。Yeah, it's summer. It's still hot. Yeah. I'm surprised it's still summer. I guess it doesn't turn autumn/fall until the end of this month, maybe. I hear that Japanese summers are very, very brutal. And as much as I love the heat, over the cold. I feel like, considering where one lives and considering the actual conditions of what is used for relieving heat, like the type of air conditioners or fans and stuff, can make heat or the summer more brutal. Because I know it gets to be like 40 normally in Japan in the summer, which is absolutely abysmal. But I didn't know it was dog day. Huh. Interesting. Inu no hi. Very, very interesting. Well, I actually found out the ragtail fight in Footside Pit is harder in PAL because of the Recklets being more aggressive. Really? Huh. Wait a minute. Is that a recent Bringles can short? I haven't watched it yet, but I think I've seen that headline. There you go again, Milo. I see you. I understand though. Yeah. So I'm not the best at gaming, obviously. I play SUIKA game every week, so it's pretty obvious. But like, or I'm not the most hardcore of gamers either. But learning about these harder difficulties reminds me of the whole Mario 2 Lost Levels situation, where apparently it wasn't, where Lost Levels wasn't sent outside of Japan because they thought that Westerners couldn't handle it, even though the game in general was just difficult to begin with. Sengoju Ichi. I just assumed that's how the fight was for all versions when I did the fight. That's what I'm saying. So a lot of Europeans don't realize that their version is the hardest version because that's the version that they grew up with. That's what makes it interesting as well. Reading him like a book. Well, Milo does mention a lot that Super Paper Mario is like their favorite game of all time. And they do like watching Bringles stuff a lot. And I've been seeing a lot of Bringles shorts popping up as well on my feed. So I do understand. So if I see it, I know that Milo sees it. And I think Milo also said that they're in Bringles Discord as well. So that's why. Nah, they were right. I can't handle that. So my thought process about it is that I'm trying to think. I'm not trying to get anyone's ages out here. However, I will say that if you remember the time, or if you were in a time where you had an older system like an NES or a Super Nintendo, and you had your cartridges or cassettes or what have you, you couldn't just go, I'm bored, I want a new game. So you played the games that you had, and you would get good at them because it's all you had, and you enjoyed playing them, right? And so then, as time goes on, you got so used to playing the game that if you do become a streamer or something like that, or you go to like a local, like a friend's house or a family's house and you play the game, people look at you and go, wow, how did you figure this out? That's a lot of stuff. I would have never found this on my own. How did you figure that out? And then you would go, I played it a lot. It's one of the few games that I had when I was younger and stuff like that, right? Funny enough, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time is actually easier in Europe since the US version came first and the boss HP was lower than the later releases. I wonder why they made it less difficult as developments went on. Because I do know that with the Mario Luigi series, that it does go in reverse. Even though the games are developed, I feel like in Japan first. Well, I guess not, if Alpha Dream maybe wasn't. I'm not sure. Because I think the prototype was still in Japanese, well, at least for Superstar Saga. But the games did release in North America first, and then Europe, and then Japan. That's one thing I do remember. I just tell people, what can I say? I'm just built different. It makes me want to delve more into some of the harder stuff. But at the same time, I do know that, like I said, I'm not very good at video games. even at NTSC difficulty, which explains, I mean, it's just like with the Mega Man games, the original Mega Man games on the NES. There's an easy mode and a normal mode. Normal mode is hard mode, but that hard mode is normal mode for Japan, which they didn't have an easy mode. But obviously the game came out in Japan first. So after development, when they localized it, sent it over, they had easy mode for everyone else. The US manual also had a misprint on the back of it. It says copyright 2005, Mario and Luigi partners in it says partners in crime. That's hilarious. That's really funny. Partners in crime. I'm sure a lot of memes came out of that one then. That's really funny. I super suck at Mega Man. I didn't even know there was a hard mode. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it was the original or not. If it was like the first one or the second one. But yeah, there's a... I think there's a... Well, the hard mode is normal mode, basically. But if you know of people of today, right? People go, well, I'm not going to play on easy mode. I'm a gamer. I know how to play games. And then you play normal mode and realize that it's difficult. It's just like... Because this isn't the first time this has happened. It's just like with Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, and Radiant Dawn. Path of Radiance in Japan had a... I think it was called normal mode, hard mode, and maniac mode. And then when they got localized, it became easy mode, normal mode, hard mode. So basically they added an easy mode to the left side and scrapped the maniac mode on the right side. But it caused issues with Radiant Dawn cards, or CDs rather, because easy mode technically didn't exist. It got fixed at some point. I'm not sure how they did it, but it got fixed. And if you play Radiant Dawn on easy mode, each of the difficulties are actually harder than you would assume they are based on that. So easy is normal, normal is hard, and hard is difficult, or more difficult. But that's usually how that goes. Melon. It does make me wonder how difficulties work. Like, what makes a game more difficult? Having less HP, taking more damage, more enemies at you, less reaction time. I feel like a lot of it goes into that sort of thing. I mean, when you look it up, you get a video of a news report like 15 years ago of people robbing a gas station on Halloween dressed as Mario characters. That sounds like an old style commercial that would have aired, especially in like North America or something, since North America had the edgiest ad campaigns or ads in general for video games. I just learned not long ago of the openings of Kirby Right Back at Ya in Japan versus North America, and how completely different they are. Like in Japan, like the song and everything is very cheery, despite like I guess the whole place being really dark. But in North America or in English, I wouldn't say it's edgy, but it's definitely more, it has more pop, more flair. But when you listen to the opening in Japanese, it definitely feels like Sailor Moon, I guess? I'm not entirely sure. Very, very, very different. It's like the whole box art stuff, you know? The box art differences. I'm sure there's like a huge study on it too, and it's very, very cool to look at. I don't know if I'll ever try Fire Emblem game till Genealogy of the Holy War. Wait. Do you mean that you want Genealogy to be your first Fire Emblem game? That's a pretty big game. Or at least the chapters are large, from what I know. I've never really delved into Genealogy just because I know of that fact. and it's really different. Even though technically genealogy is the one that gave us, genealogy is like the, I want to say the Hoenn region of Pokemon, where it gave us more color, and the, what's it called? What is it called? Natures and abilities and stuff. Genealogy is the one that gave us the weapon triangle and like an interesting like money system, trade system, and all that type of stuff too. And like Kanto, I think, for when you're using a horse and after you attack or whatever, you can move again a little bit or something like that. I want to play genealogy because of the Sigurd the Sylph storyline always interests me. You should totally do it then. But I've never really delved much into genealogy as much as I would like to. Obviously, I don't think I would ever stream Fire Emblem games, to be honest here. Because of how, I know a lot about it, but I don't think I would ever stream it here. Just because I'm not the best at strategy, and Fire Emblem isn't the most cutesy of games either. But it is very fun. Paper Mario, on the other hand, well, you already know about that. Made by the same people, so I do enjoy playing Paper Mario a lot. 1440 1440, I think. Like the Mario GBA tattoo ad poster. Yeah. I don't want to play other Fire Emblem games though, because two super close friends were huge fans and we had a big falling out. Oh, I see. So, let me say this then. No matter how much of a fan you may be of something, there will always be someone out there who takes it so far that they lose their sense of self. My advice is do not let anyone else determine whether or not you will like something, or whether or not you will continue playing a thing, or dropping a franchise or a series or something like that. Because I do know that a big fan base can turn off people from playing a thing like Kingdom Hearts or Sonic or Undertale or Elden Ring and stuff like that, because people are very passionate, a little too passionate to where only their opinion is law. I say, out of the, how many Fire Emblem games are there? We have over 16 of them now. I would still say try your hand at it. Don't worry about the falling out, and just go through the games and see how they are, because each game is different in its own right, even if they're on the same system. Depending on the system determines the mechanics of the games as well, because it seems like mechanics are based on the system. Like all three GBA games have basically the same system that they use. It's just that it gets fleshed out more and more with each development. Same with Super Nintendo, I think, and DS as well, and all that. So, but I do understand that. I 100% understand. My owner really loves Smash Brothers, and they used to stream it a lot, like a lot of hours in. But over time, people began to be very unsportsmanship like, and it made them basically quit streaming the game because of that, because they were basically hosting arenas for the weekend, but then people were just being obnoxious, and so they just stopped, which is unfortunate, because it just means that, you know, you can't have nice things because people want to, I guess, stunt on people in the nastiest of ways, when arenas are supposed to be not as much like a tournament. Because I do understand how you would want to show off, and that's fine, but you can show off without, I guess, being spammy or obnoxious as well. but I guess it's a hard thing to think about. So like I said, I do understand about people getting really, really, really aggravating or passionate about a game or something, and not letting things go, and throwing out the whole obligatory skill issues type situation, you know? It's funny how Gorgeist Shiny looks like Camellia from Fire Emblem Conquest. I guess technically Camilla looks like Gorgeist then, because X and Y did come out before, I think. But yeah, I didn't think about that actually. You're right. It kind of matches the vibe, because I think Camilla rides on a Revenant or something. I forget what it's called, because I played the game in Japanese and English, so I don't remember what the Revenant is called. I don't remember if it's in Japanese or English. There are a lot of those that I always forget. But yeah. But yeah. Yeah, the purple hair, yeah. It's very interesting. But since Gorgeist is a ghost, it does make sense as well. Since she kind of rides on a reanimated wyvern. I guess that's the best way I can call that. Hence a revenant. But yeah, don't think too hard about that. Don't get too, you know. Like I said, people are like that, and it's very aggravating. I don't know why people have to be this way. I don't know who taught people to be very obnoxious about, like, liking a thing. But, people do forget that people have differing opinions, and it's not the end of the world if you do have differing opinions about things. But yeah, it's a lot of games in the series. And even if you're not playing from the series, you can play some of the games that Kaga himself has made, like Tearing Saga, Bearwick Saga. And then of course there's Valkyria Chronicles as well, which is Fire Emblem-like, I think. I've never played it, but I've heard things about it, so. I think Shining Force is kind of like that as well. It's an older game. I think it's Sega, I think. But yeah. Do not let someone determine whether or not you will like a thing. The Ice Climber fandom is pretty chill. Haha, I get it. Well, the fandom is chill unless they play Smash Brothers. Then they aren't chill. Because apparently the only way to play Ice Climbers in Smash Brothers is to desync the twins and be obnoxious. Yes, wobble, exactly. That's right there. Basically 0 to death you in a single desync. It's not fun to deal with. I did grow up playing all of the Smash games. So I was around the time when like each game was first announced, other than I want to say Smash 64. But after Smash 64, I remember like going to kiosks and what have you at different stores, seeing Melee, seeing a GameCube for the first time, the controller for the first time, and then remembering the delay of Brawl at the time. And then of course Smash 4 came out for 3DS and the Wii U, and now we have Smash Ultimate. Smash 64 is how I learned about all of the characters who weren't Mario and Pokemon. I didn't know who Kirby was, Captain Falcon, Samus. I guess I know about Link. I think I did know about Link. We had Zelda. a long time ago for NES. But everyone else I did not know. If it wasn't from the Mario, Zelda, or Pokemon franchise. Hello, Tisius. Oh, Melon. Hope you're doing well today. I remember a lot of people debating if Popo and Nana were siblings or a couple because they weren't sure. Yeah, I was told recently that apparently, I think it's written somewhere, apparently within the game or the box or something like that, that I think they are siblings or twins or something. Even I didn't know. I thought they were like a couple as well. I had no idea. They definitely do look alike. And yes, I do know that. Like, obviously, if it's an old game like NES, that the characters are going to look the same because, you know, pixels. So the characters are going to look the same. But, like, still. There was a lot of player 1, player 2 syndrome back in the day. The reason why the characters exist is because you needed a player 2. That's why Luigi exists. That's why Nana exists. And stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't know either. That was very interesting. I love learning about lore. It's very, very fun. Yeah, especially with only being one game and could also be mistranslations. Exactly, that too, yeah. There were a lot of mistranslations back in the day, considering that it wasn't as easy to just translate something. Or even travel the seas or just, you know, get information from one country to another. Back in those days, in like, I guess the 70s and 80s and stuff. Hence why you get a lot of different misprints for like Mario 2. For the character names as well. So later things... Excuse me. Later things do get mistranslated or retconned. Retconned is the right word. The JP version of Ice Climbers does have the seals. Yes. And then they changed it to Topi because they didn't want to, or at least when it was localized, they changed it to Topi. Because they didn't want to promote clubbing seals, I believe. Something like that. Mario World is different as well. Mario World and Mario 3, these games are different as well depending on localization. The games are made easier. Mario 3 definitely has some differences in terms of the game being harder. And Mario World does have some levels that are completely different, or the Japanese version doesn't have that green block in the middle of the first castle, I think. So difficulty did come with like the type of game that you had, I guess. Or the type of region that you had, rather. And the Smash Melee trophy uses the Seal trophy. Doesn't it use both? Or maybe it's the European only. Maybe the Japanese one uses the Seal? I'm not sure. I do remember seeing a Topi trophy. That's why I'm wondering if they had both or not. It might depend on the region? Now I'm not sure. But that's how I knew that the name of the character was called Topi, I think. Because of the trophy. But I do recall seeing the Seal trophy as well, so I'm wondering if both are in the same game or not. And that is a game where you can just change the language of the game from Japanese to English or English to Japanese. That's how I first learned about the different Japanese names of characters, like Jigglypuff being Pudding, or as the announcer says, Purin. Ice Climbers being Ice Climber. DK is Donkey Kong, or Donkey, I think. I mean, he doesn't say it, but it's still Donkey Kong, right? Who else was changed? What were the different names? Of course, different voices as well. Mewtwo had lines in Japanese. Fox, obviously. Fox, I think, is the same voice actor. If you play Melee, I think that voice is the same in English and Japanese. Same with Falco. Which is why the voices sound so different from the games that they are from. And they just got the Japanese voice actors to basically speak in English. for the English side. Bowser was Koopa, Peach was Toadstool. Well, Peach wasn't Toadstool, I think, in Melee. I think Peach was always Peach. Which is funny because Peach was always Peach in Japan. And in English, Peach was Princess Toadstool up until Mario 64, I believe. Interestingly enough. Who else? Maybe those are the only characters? But yeah, Koopa. Bowser is Koopa. I think that's it. Apparently Marth and Roy were going to be dummied out of the non-Japanese versions since Fire Emblem just didn't come out in the West yet. I think Roy was supposed to promote Binding Blade though. But due to delay for Binding Blade in Japan, he became a Smash character before he became a character in his own game. So technically Roy is a Smash OC. Bowser's definitely an interesting character in Melee. Yeah, he rides when he runs, he rides on the ground like a train, like a locomotive, basically. It's very interesting. And he sounds like Godzilla, I think. Bowser's probably one of the hardest characters to use in Melee. I used to play a lot of Melee back in the day. I don't think I can go back though. It's very difficult to go back to Melee for me personally. Plus I also don't feel like breaking my fingers. I know people are still very, very, very passionate about Melee. And that's fine. As long as it's not ultra negative. Which is very rare. Giga Bowser is very sick. I do like Giga Bowser's design. That's how you get the Giga Bowser Final Smash. And it still will be when it gets put on GCNSO. Yeah. That's something that I actually feared. Because the free Melee thing was a thing for a very long time, and the fact that it's going to actually be on NSO. I wonder though, I've never tested GameCube NSO for multiplayer. But as far as my experience goes with NSO in general or N64 NSO, the connection is very bad or faulty despite having great internet. And I think when I tested it, I never got the signal bar above 3. And it mostly stayed within 2, I think. So, and I know that it's based on the actual NSO emulator type as well, because the NES and Super Nintendo ones aren't as bad. So I don't know. It's very cool. It's very cool. It's very interesting. It's very weird though. It's an issue considering that people do pay for NSO. So you kind of need to, if the only way to play with a friend overseas is through this, then it needs to get some sort of maintenance done to it. But I have not tested GameCube version. I mean, what the adorable hothead can cause a lot of damage to your saves. Specifically North American though, no? Does that happen with the EU version? It doesn't happen with the Japanese version, but I do know it happens with the North American version. Wait, is that still a thing? Did they not fix that? Or is that just the news that we remember? Because I do remember that. Maybe although I never game overs with Watt out. I see. Well, so if you play them on NSO, or if you play them in general, it's been a long time since I played on original N64 non-virtual console / non-emulated. But if you play on the Wii Virtual Console, Some of the battles do get laggy or slow down because of how many assets are on screen. Apparently from what I think one of you guys told me this, maybe I could be wrong. But I think Lava Piranha on Switch and SO causes the most lag. And I'm not sure if that's because of lava graphics itself or what. But I think the Huff and Puff fight probably would cause the most lag because of how many assets are on the screen. Which I know it does do on the Wii, but I'm not sure about Switch and SO. So each version is definitely different or personalized, it seems. I haven't played, but like I said, I haven't played on the original N64 cart in a very long time. So I kind of wonder how much slowdown would actually be there. For all of the fights, actually. N64 didn't have the best frame rate. But as long as it was constant, it was fine. Even if it was less than probably 30 sometimes. Yep, and I know a certain anti-guy that would know all about that. Does the anti-guy also lag the game? I thought he was just one character in the fight. I know the Lantern Ghost can kind of... Well, no, not the Lantern Ghost. The Shy Guy fight... Oh, you're talking about Strider. Oh, you mean the content creator, not the actual guy in the game. I see. Naruhodo Melon. Yeah, that's true. I used to watch a lot of their stuff too. I learned a lot of stuff from there about freezing the game with double dip and whatnot. What else? Oh, yeah. The general guy fight with the light. The light causes slowdown. So once you get rid of the light bulb, there is no more slowdown. So it's definitely something that's happening with certain graphics that's taking up so much that, or it's being stored in such a weird way to where it's making your inputs or just the frames slow down immensely to where it messes with your inputs. I did say at some point that I was going to play Paper Mario 64. I just don't know how I'm going to do it yet. Or how I want to do it yet. But I still have to finish Super first. And I know I'm very notorious for not finishing games. But I do want to finish Super Paper Mario first. I'm this far in, so I would like to finish that one. And it disappeared once 2020 happened. Do we know why? Are you also like sub to them as well, or what? Let's go. Yeah, Paper Mario 64 is very nice. I enjoyed that one a lot. That was definitely a childhood game for me. First finding out about the game and starting it out, I was hooked to it right from the beginning. Even if the game wasn't mine. I don't know what it was about it at the time. But I was definitely hooked. And again, I was hooked to Harvest Moon 64 as well, so... That's one of the reasons why I did stream it a very, very, very long time ago before my game froze. I am subbed, but no, he's just taking a really long break. Fair enough. As long as they take care of themselves, then that's all that matters. I know a lot of people can go, man, I really miss Strider. But if they haven't said anything about what's going on, or if there's, if things are getting misconstrued and stuff, then, And if people are like sending weird rumors out there, I wouldn't want to come back myself. But I don't know what's actually going on. I do know that they disappeared though. But that's all I know. I don't know if there's like a difficulty between Paper Mario 64 in different regions. I've never played the EU version, so I'm not sure if anything is more difficult there. But it's very fun. I know there are like some music changes. That's about it, as far as I know. I don't think there are any real stat differences. I never looked into it. It's pretty much the same with slight dialogue changes. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. And like mistranslations and stuff too. With the what pronouns, I guess. But that depends on region, I think, as well. What else? I don't know. I think other than Pokemon, Paper Mario 64, or Paper Mario in general, was my most played RPG ever. I'll change it because Watt is female. Yeah, Watt is female. Which is funny because apparently from the Japanese dialogue, they don't use any pronouns at all. Or it's just not stated, I guess. Because there are ways to just talk about a character without using pronouns. And in Japan, sometimes pronouns aren't used. Sometimes they just refer by name. And stuff like that. But yeah. I know the blue thing on her is a pacifier, but at first I thought it was a nose. Yeah, so I always thought it was a pacifier. I can understand how you would think it's a nose, though. I think the reason why I kind of knew is because I do remember playing... I think I may have played... Interestingly enough, I think I may have played Mario World on the Game Boy Advance and Super Nintendo before playing Paper Mario 64, and so I kind of knew that. No, it is a pacifier. It is. Before I learned, or before, what am I trying to say here? I knew about the Sparkies or whatever they're called from Mario World before seeing the character in Paper Mario, and that's one thing I really like about Paper Mario 64 and Thousand Year Door. I like that you basically learn that just because the characters are enemies in the original games doesn't mean that there aren't characters within the regime that have decided to not be a part of Bowser's nonsense, I guess, and live a happy life instead. So I think it's very cool to see that the quote-unquote baddies have I guess basically revolted and made a home elsewhere for peace. Like seeing the differences between like how the non-evil Goombas have like squarish teeth instead of sharp. Or just like Koopas in general living in their own village instead of being like the bad guys. Which apparently the bad guy Koopas wear shades and stuff like that. Or sunglasses. Sparky's hotheads, there's a lot of names. Yeah, it's both. I got confused about that actually. Because it's like, which one is it? But they do actually do both. If you play Smash Brothers as well, they do spark, but they also set you on fire as well. So yeah, it's very funny how they have different names. I say Zangief, you are a bad guy, but this does not mean you are a bad guy. Exactly. Sure you even get a letter from Watt's mother. I may have not... Wait. Is that at the end of the game? Or is that just a random letter? Or... Because I don't remember. That's one thing I actually don't remember. I learned later on of Colorado. Apparently the name is Colorado, and the joke is that it's Colorado instead of Indiana, because apparently he's supposed to be Indiana Jones, which is interesting. The Japanese name is Charles though, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. I have time for one more. It's when you check the post office. Oh, I should do that. That's something I never really did. I did used to go scouting for letters and stuff, or delivering letters, but I never really went to the post office other than to return the mailbag. But yeah, I had no idea. Makes sense though. I don't think I've ever 100%ed Paper Mario 64. Mario also gets mail at his house between chapters. I do know about that one. That's why I was wondering about the letter from Watt's mother. Huh. I'm trying to think, do I have a favorite partner from 64 though? Because I do like using them all. I like everyone's utility. Like Goombario grew on me a lot. I know that Goombario is the first partner that you get. But technically his super bonk or head bonk ends up being better than Mario's jump at times. So I've grown to love that. I do like using Cooper a lot for hitting multiple enemies at once on the ground and stuff like that. So everyone has their utility. 64 is kind of hard to 100% since there's no post game, and once you beat the final boss, you're stuck in that story segment between Toad Town and Peach's Castle Parade. Bo is pretty cool too. Bo's pretty cool. Bo is what is considered an Ohoho Joel-sama. She is very cool, yeah. So she's a favorite as well. I don't think I have one that I dislike. That's the interesting part about it. That might be another reason why I like 64 so much. No character is really bad. And they each have their own utility that's super useful in battle as well. Bamet has the... I think when you superpower everyone, I think she has the highest FP usage from her explosion. So you can get the best out of that by just attacking outside of battle. Paracarry is very fun. I do like the reference to targeting from Yoshi's Island. Lackluster is cool, but a little late in the game. Yeah, Lackluster is the one you get the latest, I believe. His utility is actually really good as well. With Cloud9 and being able to attack all enemies at once, and it doing, I think it's basically pierce damage, even if it may seem like it's like low power. But of course, if you can get everyone powered up by, you know, double powered, you're fine for the most part. Chapter 6 and he's the last, yeah. So. And it's not a game where like there are optional partners or anything. So you're not missing out on partners. They're all required. Sushi's belly flop is pretty cool. I do like using the defensive attack though. I like all of her attacks. Maybe I use Sushi the least though? Maybe. But I do like her attacks a lot. Obviously, you would want to use her a lot in against the lava piranha fight, since it demobilizes the piranha plant. There's also a badge called Group Focus that lets them recharge the star meter They also have unique sprites for it. Oh yeah, they do the unique like praying sprite basically. Maybe I should try that for the run as well. It's been a while since I've done group focus. Because I know that there are many different strats to playing the game. And the most OP way to go is, what is it called? What is that badge called? Quick change. Quick change is probably the most OP badge in the game. Yeah, like going through the floor to get to the train station early. Going through the floor. Oh, I know what you mean. So that's something I've never done. I probably could do it, but I've never done it before. Something that I usually do is I try to grind for star shards, crystals. I forget what they're called. Until I can get the Zap Tap badge. Because the Zap Tap badge is super useful. Well, star points are for leveling. But the pieces, yeah, pieces. That's what they are. The star pieces are what you use to trade for badges at Merlo? I think that's his name. Merlo's place. Because once you get the Zap Tap badge, you don't have to worry about fuzzies or swoopers at all. Or bandits, actually. You don't have to worry about bandits at all. They won't steal from you. Merlo, yeah. Sure, Merlo. He lives with Merlo. Yeah. I think my first playthrough of Paper Mario 64 when I was much younger, I did not know how Merloli's like chest worked. So once I learned about it, and learned that there were like 2 or 3 badges you could get, or items you could get to transfer over to Mario from Peach's place, Melon, I definitely utilized that a lot more. Yeah, and also don't have to deal with fuzzies. It's fuzzies, bandits, and swoopers. Yeah. Very useful. If only it worked on the clouds as well. But it makes sense that it doesn't, considering that there are clouds. But yeah, I definitely know a lot more about 64 than I do about any other game. Even though I did grow up with both 64 and 1000 Year Door. I think the level cap is 31. Level cap? Or 29? Is it? Not sure. I have no idea. I just usually go for badge points and flower points for the most part. By the time you get to the end of the game, you're going to be leveling so much that you have like no choice but to go for HP. Because the max stats are 50 HP, 50 FP, and 30 BP. Okay. But what about, what's his name? Chet Rippo. I think that's his name. Doesn't he manipulate your stats as well? Or points, I guess? Do not trust him. But what if it's a strategy? I actually don't know. I think as a kid, I did it once. I don't remember how dire the side effects are though. Ah, 2094. Tenkyujuyon. You will raise the stat but will lower the other two. Yeah, that's what I figured, yeah. So that's the question then. If you have... His name is a pun on ripoff? Yeah. So does that mean that if you max out one of the stats and you go for the other to lower the other, are the others still capped? That's something I never thought about. But it makes sense. And I can understand why HP would be 50 at max without using the HP up badge points. Because I think in Fire Emblem, the max HP that a character could have in at least the GBA games is like 60. But that'll be exciting once I get to that one. That'll be the next one that I try, obviously. But I really appreciate you guys stopping by today. This will be the end of the stream for the time being. Mite kurete arigato. Kite kurete arigato. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening while I enjoy stream. I appreciate it. Arigato, Melon. I really appreciate it. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to know when I go live. I'm very niche and small, and I don't stream often, but I hope you enjoy my content anyway, or enjoy chatting with me and stuff. Stay tuned for more SUIKA game, Super Paper Mario, Pokemon, and whatever else I decide to come up with for the time being. But until then, I'm meloncollieflaur, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye. Melon.